that's what I wanted to say, but it doesn't.
It always sounds wrong.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like the title of this podcast. Because I know everybody's gonna say the first word wrong. Everybody knows the second word. I'm still gonna go over them anyway.
Yep.
But I chose these two words as like a bougie way of explaining what's gonna happen. This is gonna be mostly a free-form thing. We'll expand it and change it as it goes along. Maybe it'll turn into something kind of like an educational thing. Maybe it'll turn into something more like what Steven Crowder does.
I do love his bits.
Right.
He did the one that actually just got released today. Just for clarification, it's November 30th. I don't know if he gave a date on the date. Okay, perfect. Well, today is November 30th, 2019. And again, I'm really gracious that Rep invited me on the first episode of the podcast. It's actually, we've actually been talking about it for a while. I told Rec to spell it wrong, and then I was like fucking with him like that. Gotcha, bitch. I'm actually very touched that he even wanted me in this first episode. So I just want to actually extend my sincerest thank you. Big fan, actually. If you're not following Rec on Minds or Twitter, you really should because he's fucking hilarious. Don't even take my word for it. Just go fucking look for yourself. Steven Crowder actually did a video the other day about, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but I saw it on Minds this morning, where he actually goes through and recreates the Jeffrey Epstein suicide and proves that it was impossible to do. And he gets all the materials that they would have had in that cell and goes through it step by step on how he actually commits suicide. So he actually lays there and tries to do it, and it just doesn't. Where he's got a fucking helmet on and shit, so he doesn't hurt himself. And it looks really stupid, but
I saw a snip of that. Literally just a screenshot that came with it. It's you can see it's physically impossible.
Yeah, which I'm it's been fucking 2 months now since the dude killed himself, and
fucking ninja.
Thank God for that.
But just ironically enough, that kind of comes in. So circling back here really hard.
It's like a big fucking U-turn in the middle of the sky.
The title of Halcyon Bedlam is to represent that type of stuff. Using Epstein as an example here. All of the horrible shit that happened. I've never laughed at a series of games so hard as this. The last time I laughed at a game, it's hard to hate me all you want for it. Get my horn up your ass. You've got the knuckles.
You got it.
I love You've got the knuckles. Exactly. The freaking it was Devil Artemis that did that, right with him. Yeah. People hated that so much, and people loved it so much. There's a reason that motherfucker made 4 part.
I feel like this episode should have been us talking about our favorite memes. Because all I want to talk to you about is my favorite meme that you showed me, and it was I actually didn't find out about that until a year after that was popular. So I'm the only asshole in 2017, or maybe 2018, going around up to a and was yeah, fucking do the joke last year.
I have my own thoughts about that kind of stuff and about people being really adamant about that defining the music thing.
The trends.
This is one of the reasons we're starting with philosophy is because it's an all-encompassing thing. Philosophers are basically just not funny social commentators.
They're shitty comedians that try to have a point.
Exactly. Yeah. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's that unique duality, with Epstein. So Halcyon. Halcyon is denotating period of time in the past, which was happy.
So you can circle back to that. We found a way to tie it in, everybody. First episode, we're making things happen. Hey, you're doing better than me over here. I'm just fucking playing with that dog.
That's a euphemism, by the way.
Yes, it is. Hey, great.
And then and Bedlam. Just to take that. It's become a word that essentially means describing any situation, scene, time in history, state of mind where there's an uproar of confusion and it's just horrid. Amazing atrocities could just be described as Bedlam.
Which side note, if you haven't read I would say criminally underrated comic series Bedlam, you should go find it. It's an Image comic. It's not very hard to find. It actually is a little rare to find like individual like issues, but if you go on Amazon, they've got like the trades.
Yeah, it literally lasted 2 arcs.
Yeah, and that was it.
And it ended on a cliffhanger, and I was like, you sons of bitches.
So if somehow the creator of that ever fucking hears this, which I don't know if that'll ever happen, but fuck, I'm gonna go and give it a shot. Please, just finish the fucking story. One more arc. Yeah, I'll buy it off you. You know, do 3 more issues. Just finish the story out.
I would love to get to the point where like it has out.
Oh yeah.
Make a show.
That would be fucking dope. That would be cool. The whole idea with philosophy though is because it's like most philosophers they just kind of would fit things into their own narrative. And I don't know if it's okay if I bring this up first, but Rec had already pitched me and his idea for wanting to do a podcast, and I thought it was great. I thought it'd be a great idea in general, but we weren't sure what topic we wanted to talk about first. And I'm always bitching about school because currently I'm going to school right now, finishing up college because
Now we're gonna fucking go.
Hey, I work at a high class dollar store, so obviously I'm better than you. It's a $5 store.
That will be a bit.
Yeah, well, you bet your ass it will be. Stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to New Dawn Production, go there now. Shameless plug. Or in Home Deck also. Yes, videos too. But he So I like to bitch about a lot of my stuff at school because I realize that with most kids, because I'm significantly older than a lot of like the freshmen in school. Now I'm not a freshman in college, but I've had to take a couple of freshmen class, and just the naivety of a lot of the students and how easy they are to not postulate their own ideas. So they're more willing to listen to people. So like they're less willing to question anything at all. And I was sitting in class, and it was a class basically, without going into detail, I'm sure we'll bring it up later throughout this podcast, but the teacher postulated a question about the whole idea of philosophers, and how they should be the one true rulers because they come up with shit. She never really gave me like an actual answer as to why, which I can infer as to why she would say philosophers should be kings. It's that whole idea.
If I were a teacher, I would say like, one of my favorite scenes from the movie Speak is when we use as an example for this. Their history teacher who was framed as a complete douche.
I don't think I've seen this actually.
It's actually pretty good. It's before everybody really hated Kristen Stewart.
Which is sad. We'll talk about that.
But
a whole rant with her question, which is underrated.
I think we both listened to it. But the scene, everybody's in class, and the history is like their first freaking day. And a history professor walks out and writes something on the board that I can't remember, and goes, "My family was part of the founders. Been here 200 years. So why don't y'all tell me why my son can't find a job?" Blah 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 blah. Kind of goes off on like a vaguely racist tangent.
Vaguely.
It's
only slightly racist.
This is just what I remember. So basically, he's trying to do. I think the teacher was trying to do a caricature of that one asshole that we all know. That's like all of the dirty political words, nationalist, right wing, exclusivist, whatever you come up with to say somebody who thinks that just because you're born here you should have everything. But if you're not born here, you can fuck where you came from. And of course, the conversation did not go the way he was intending. People started attacking him. In the conversation. One of the students even going so far as to say something like, "Maybe your son's just lazy and isn't putting in the work that he should to get the job that you think he should have." And
you got it wrong.
Because the conversation wasn't going the way he thought it would, he just shut it off. Now, funny enough, when I first saw that in high school, I was thinking, yeah, fuck that guy. But now I really, really, really want to interpret what he was doing as the idea that he was trying to actually be a teacher, which is what ancient philosophers were. All their only thing they were trying to do was encourage people to state their opinions, put them up for scrutiny, and if it held water, then it produced art. So I like to think that what that history teacher was actually doing, if it was a poorly written anecdote, I still love the book Steep. It deals with some messed up subject matter, but I still really enjoyed it. I still really enjoyed it and the movie. But in that same regard, I think that the teacher was just trying to get people to talk and discuss something.
I can see that.
And just pull up.
So, and that kind of actually leads to what my thoughts on what my teacher. So, you would think that in order to help articulate a lot of young minds and get them to think, that you would want to postulate, right? So, when my teacher said that, I asked the question because she brought up how there is only ultimately one correct answer. And philosophers are going to, their entire idea is the antithesis of what you would say, where the entire idea of the philosopher is to understand the truth, to figure out what the truth is. And I guess from like a base level or like a surface level philosophy, yeah, okay, to understand truths. The problem is with a lot of teachers is they like to glance over the whole idea of relativity, relativism. I'm personally, I'm a big believer in everyone is, relatively speaking, in perception of their own reality. So what I perceive as things is how I relatively look at the world. How Rep looks at things, how we relatively do. And everyone looks at things differently, so it's all relative. So the way we view things is different than another person views things. We can have similar interests, even similar ideas, but ultimately we're all going to have our own visualization of the world. My teacher, no, she didn't single me out or anything. I'm not going to say this is like one of those, oh, they, because I talked about Trump, they're singling me out. Kind of, no, she didn't single me out. She just told me her opinion on it.
We've all got our thoughts about Trump.
Yeah, and all that jazz. I won't get into that in this episode. But,
that'll be a political discussion. We'll get into it. Fortunately, philosophy doesn't need politics.
It's coming eventually. So she basically told me, because I asked if, relatively speaking, if we all look at things differently, how is it that philosophers should be kings or should be the leaders when technically each philosopher would look at things from a different perspective?
Yeah.
So every philosopher will view the world in a different way. And she told me, without even knowing that I was talking about like agreeing to disagree or anything like that, she straight up told me that it's a dangerous notion and a dangerous thought to perceive agreeing to disagree, because there should always be one absolute truth. Which, actually, I wrote down the exact quote she said.
Ironically, agree and disagree is about as democratic as you can think that.
So I found the actual quote. She was talking specifically about Plato's Republic.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna read you word for word. This is what I wrote down like fucking maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and I've never really brought it up except for the top of the bracket. Yeah. So she told me that agreeing to disagree is a dangerous notion to have. Agreeing to disagree is a dangerous notion to have, as it defeats the purpose philosopher as the natural leaders. So isn't the whole idea? Sorry, isn't the whole idea of philosophy to challenge perception? So why would we want to limit actual thought process? That's what that sounds like to me. It sounds like, oh well, someone else could have a different answer. Well, no, they're wrong now. What? Like,
I made a tweet about it a while back. I used to hate philosophy until I took time to get into it, and I'm glad we brought up Plato because Plato leads into my favorite philosopher despite his hypocrisies, which I know is also hilarious. If anybody knows about like two-tier philosophical jokes like that.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at
One
too.
philosopher's hypocrisies.
There's Plato's man. Just a little teaser for anybody else that thinks that they know. Yeah, thinks that they know who we're talking about.
Just the idea. I've always chosen to interpret philosophy as the idea of, do you like this thing and can you articulate why?
That's fair.
Or why? So ironically, like, and my presupposition there, one because of the word choice I use, will confuse the fuck out of the majority of the people here. And the reason I know that is because I say it a lot.
Which word? Presupposition?
No, not presupposition. Philosophy.
Oh, philosophy.
Do you like this thing? Can you articulate?
Huh. Do I like this thing? And articulate it. I guess it would depend on the subject though too.
Exactly.
Because again, so, I mean that's my personal belief though. Everyone believes differently. Because I can't tell you how many times I've walked down the road and I've sat there and I've talked about, or I'm sorry, thought. Someone
thinking and fucking at the same time.
Yeah, I've thought myself. Always talking myself, that seems like. But I was sitting there thinking that every person I'm walking by, each either, so they did a couple different things. They either looked at me and had an assumption about me, didn't even realize I was there, or noticed me but didn't like think much of it. So there's only one of three different options that I could have. Like, there may be more, but that's the three that I was thinking.
That's the idea that that's why, at least in the regards to as much as that's my philosophy. Because you could come up with those three ideas.
Yeah.
We'll get into a specific philosopher that I have to speak with. Where if you have the ideas, they can sound true, but all that's required is for somebody to kind of go, no, this is what I observe, or this is what I believe based off of what I know and what I've seen and what I think and what I feel. That communication is the idea that you have to be able to talk about this stuff and not get so airheaded like Plato did in his later situations.
Yeah.
Where you say something in a challenge. I believe it was in a challenge. I genuinely cannot remember right now. I did not write it in my notes. But I want to say it was a challenge that he had to describe a human being in the shortest possible sentence. He went, a human being is a bipedal creature with no that's featherless and has hair or something. I don't remember the actual quote.
You can look it up. It's on Google.
One of my absolute favorite trolls that Hajime is I like to think that he just made his face like completely dead, and then just left and came back like an hour later with a plucked chicken and threw it at him. And just went, I brought you a man, or behold Plato's man. Well, behold a man. Nobody really knows the quote.
That was the for those who picked up on it earlier. That's what I was getting at. I like to think that very similar, but I like to think that he didn't make a facial expression. That he just watched, realized that what he said was like had so many inconsistencies and problems with it, and he just walked. Didn't make a face, just like kind of left like any normal person would, and just very casually walked up the road, stole a chicken from some dude, and he probably even looked at the guy like, "What the fuck are you doing? I'm about to go prove Plato wrong." without changing his facial expression.
I like to think that they hated each other, but only in the sense that like they were antithesis of each other.
Which, I mean, if anything, probably would make them like best friends though.
I hope so. It's definitely a caricature for like every.
Yeah, or at least they would be the end of each other's yin. Gosh, yeah, that's true too. Yeah, check out To Catch a Bird, Hanson. I feel like this entire podcast just be me like going, hey, you should go look at this other shit that we've done.
But yeah, just to circle back on that, I mean, that was the initial point of this was that we noticed this weird little trend with philosophers, especially is no more prevalent than with Plato to Socrates, no, Aristotle, and also with Diogenes, where one of them would say something, and then the other one would be basically just kind of finding an articulate way of saying, no, fuck that guy.
Which, I mean, like, I genuinely have a terrible time articulating that. I just tell people to fuck off in general, so it's like, yeah, I'm just like, yeah, fuck that guy. I'm just going to fuck off.
Well, even that's like one of my favorite, this isn't even technically a philosophy thing, but it was great, because it was in one of the greatest comedies I've ever seen in my life, was Savage.
That's a good-ass movie, though.
Where the mayor being the snooty shit he is, just like, Nietzsche says, out of chaos comes order. And then I don't even remember who the guy, I don't remember who he was. I just remember I love this actor. Because he just goes, blow it out your ass, Howard.
Well, we actually, unfortunately, we touched on this a little bit before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
And we talked about Nietzsche, and I love Nietzsche's idea. It was okay. My initial perception of Nietzsche when I was learning about Nietzsche was the whole idea that with God being dead, there is no God.
Yeah.
My perception was, and how I kind of interpreted it, but readings and everything, was that now that humanity is no longer shackled to the idea of God or nihilism, right? So there is no justification or reason for existing. Now, instead of us being shackled to limitations or limited in what we can do, now we're free. Now we can rise above whatever it is that we think we're only capable of and become something more than that.
And I think we both have the same problem where our high school philosophy teachers did not communicate what was actually said.
No, gave us grandiose ideas.
Yeah, or at least reinterpreted the message that Nietzsche was getting at, which was, unfortunately, that the society that he lived in had lost all of its morals and had rejected God and was moving away from their spiritual salvation. So God is dead and we killed him. So what does that mean? Yeah. And it's like,
you almost had me, bro. It's like, and the problem was you just couldn't get laid. Yeah, you fucked it. You got fucked. We got fucked. You got fucking fucked.
So the
kind of bleep that out. I can't even tell them. So yeah, because
I was going to talk about these guys later, but there's since they're up in the conversation, I fucking hate Nietzsche. And another guy named Arthur, and I cannot pronounce his name, so I'll just spell it Schopenhauer.
Schopenhauer?
No fucking idea.
Schopenhauer?
Whatever.
Arthur Schopenhauer.
Yeah. Arthur.
Kind of the Brits.
Arthur and Freddie. These shits.
Artie and Fred.
Basically, that I hate them for the same reason that people hate certain Marvel characters, and it's because they see their own flaws in that character.
That's fair.
Yeah. The idea is just you have that love. Take somebody who hates Spider-Man. I promise you that if you pay attention to their life a little bit, you'll see the reason they hate Spider-Man is because they have these amazing personal abilities. But despite that, their life is still in shambles. Just like Peter Parker.
It's more of like a feeling of, what's it called? Feeling of jealousy.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was so hard for me. But so I apologize in advance because my brain doesn't work sometimes. So I'll get on these good points and then I'm like, oh, they could work.
And it'll just take a shit happen.
100%. I blame the audio.
I do that too, but instead it's I don't try to fight my way through it. I just kind of abandon it completely.
Just go on.
And hope they didn't notice I changed the subject.
And so we're talking about this now. But Peter Parker though.
Yeah. So that's the funny thing about it. People love Spider-Man because they see their best qualities in Spider-Man. But when it comes to Peter Parker's part of the story, they're kind of fuck this guy. Why does this guy have these amazing powers that he can't do anything with his life?
You're kind of.
That's all his time doing this.
Well, that's why I still love Spider-Man. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. It's funny to bring that up because it's still my favorite characters. Actually, my ex-girlfriend hated Spider-Man, and I didn't even hate him. I'm still wondering that. In a lot of no, she had some good qualities. But just didn't work out ultimately. She broke my Spider-Man love gun, and I still have it, but she broke the handle. So now, anytime I break it from it,
you just angry.
Yeah. Here, I'll show you real quick. It's obviously people can't see it, but
it's just hard.
I'm kidding. It's just hard. She's gonna hear this and be like,
I'll never call anybody that.
No, because she wasn't. She wasn't. No, she was good, but we just weren't right for each other. Yeah, so it looks fun. Yeah, because it's perfectly broken, right where the where you can. Yeah, right where the nub is at, so you can kind of put your hand in there, but you can't put in there enough where you can comfortably drink from it. So now,
you gotta smother Spider-Man.
Yeah, just to drink it, I'm like, Spider-Man. I'm violently assaulting the man every time I want to drink from this fucking cup. But I love Spider-Man, but I think over the years, the whole idea of Spider-Man's kind of been like lost on society. And I think I don't want to say it's necessarily the whole idea of. I mean, it does come down to philosophy though, and like how we've changed so much, just honestly in like such a short period of time.
Some of the philosophy is right. That's a good thing. One of the ones that I was researching for this that I thought was like honestly one of my favorites was God damn, I can't pronounce his name.
Here's my gripe with philosophers.
Lenny Bishop.
Yeah.
I think therefore I am that guy.
Yeah.
With some of his ideas I have fucking problems with too, but when it comes down to it, like the whole point was part of his point, as I interpret it anyway, was through his method of doubts, trying to use your own reasoning to problem solve and figure out stuff like that. It was a good idea because it gave you the ability to learning how to do that gives you the ability to find your own personal interpretation. Not believing something just because somebody says it to you is a really good concept. However, you can't get pig-headed and just like not believe anything anybody says because you have your own idea of what truth is. I get that.
Who's part about that? So
I mean, pig-headed?
Yeah. So that's perfect actually because I legitimately was texting a girl on my phone, and I feel really bad right now. And I'm just gonna be honest, like So a friend of mine, I'm such a piece of shit friend. Oh my god. So a friend of mine, I met their cousin a couple months ago, and she was texting me asking how I was doing with everything. I'm like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. And she was asking me, she's like, oh yeah, I'm hanging out with my cousin, which is my friend from high school. Yeah. I'm like, oh cool, tell me I said hi. And you're going on your whole spiel. I heard pig-headedness, and I'm like, ooh. Jump back in this conversation real quick. Yeah. Hold on, there's a girl texting me first, and oh wait, no, we're doing this podcast. So I'm a piece of shit, but
just to carry that over, that's the thing. That's where you get that kind of like the monk. I like to call them the monk philosopher because their whole thing is to reject society and to like be at peace without the constraints of all this shit. And when you learn about their personal life, you find out like that's why you were just really fucking horny.
Like Nietzsche.
Yeah.
His whole thing was because he couldn't get fucking laid. Which is funny, but we actually were talking about this earlier. What the whole idea? Well, we didn't talk about this specifically, but it leads me to an idea where what is peace? Like, because you can argue the idea of peace is different for everybody else. And where I said we were talking about this earlier. So originally, I joined the army a couple years ago. I'm not currently in anymore, but I was deployed at one point. Yeah, fucking. I broke my knee. Oh god, my back hurts. Actually, there's a great meme where it was like all the people. Yeah. Oh god. There's a great meme where fuck, I'm waiting to hear about that for hit by that car. But that's a long story for the podcast. Come back for part 2 for that story. So there's a great meme though where it was like all the people who got kicked out for smoking weed are getting re-enlistment letters because now that it's legal they have to finish their contract. But we were talking about my deployment for a little bit, and we had gotten mortared once when I was out there, and it's kind of a funny story. I was walking back to
It's not funny like haha, more funny like.
Like, so I'm walking back to my shoe. They ordered like Dunkin' Donuts for us, and I had like a fuck ton of donuts and like some of this like Arabic coffee that they had there. And I was walking back. I'm assuming so. It fucking feels like it, man. Tastes good though. I'm not gonna lie. If that's what a cat's ass smells like, I'm gonna go see that movie Cats like 60 times. Yeah. Next time I'm gonna go see Cats. Rebel Wilson. You can't tell me that she doesn't pie.
Everything about that sentence made me want to hurt you.
I want to fucking throw up.
I don't think I ever told you this story, but when I was a kid, apparently, I don't remember doing this. It was just some secondhand shit my mom and my dad had told me. But, I had apparently seen Cats on TV.
You never told me the story.
And we were gonna go see the play. and I sat them down like the principal does when you have a like a behavioral problem. I sit them down in front of me and I go, I don't want to go see cats. It sucks.
Which, I mean, it kind of represents you, like, as a person in general, though. Like, you're not really one of those people that minces words. You tell them to just tell. That's one of the things I respect about you the most is that you don't mince words. You just tell people, you know, it might make them uncomfortable. They may not like it, but that's how you feel. And if you're not going to be honest with people, what's the point? So, anyway, circling back to the deployment. So, bomb goes off. I, like, shit myself because, I mean, who wouldn't? I dropped like 50 of the donuts, and being hyperbolic, of course, but I had a fuck ton. Not gonna lie, it was like a stack.
Yeah.
And I dropped them, and I'm like freaking the fuck out, like, oh my god, I just got blown up. And then the second one went off, and I realized, oh wait, no, I'm still alive. Okay, I need to fucking get the fuck out of here.
Fuck the donuts, eat coffee.
Yep. Yeah. No, I took 2 of the donuts with me. Still had the coffee though.
Nice. It's like pots of it.
I actually don't remember. I don't remember how long we were in the bunkers after that. Because so I turned the corner, and one of my NCOs was literally. It was like from a comedy, from like a movie, where they're coming out of the bathroom, and like they got like toilet paper stuck on like their boot or whatever. He literally pops. And what the hell was his name? Sergeant. I don't remember his name. He's Hispanic guy. Anybody from my old unit who was deployed with me, he was the Hispanic guy in charge of the. The mechanics. So again, if you were with me, you'll know who it was. So Churchill, you know who it was. So he comes out of the bathroom and he's like, "Bro, is this for real?" And and I'm like, "Yes, it's fucking real."
I think we were talking about something like that. Stormtroopers. How the alarm going off and everybody's like,
oh yeah, it's a drill or whatever, and how it's the realest like a military movie. Yeah,
immediately go back down doing it.
Yeah, and
so yeah, of course the guy that's in the bathroom, and here's a big explosion. His first reaction is, "This better be fake."
Well, that's the thing is like there's so many explosions going on at all time. You would think that it was because it was so close though.
Yeah.
That's when we were like, oh fuck, no, they're actually at war with us right now. But you know, Rec had brought up a good point where he had said that it's a good thing I didn't go to that situation and find out that I love it. Because peace to a lot of people are like, you maybe said something earlier, something to the effect, I don't want to take your words out of context, something to the effect of, oh, I never felt more at home being shot at or being blown up and all that stuff.
The exact words were with bullets flying past.
Yeah. So, and that's my idea when you were talking a second ago about peace is peace could be different to anybody. For me, peace is not being in a situation where I'm sitting on a fucking porta potty, drinking my coffee, eating donuts, trying to take a shit, and then everything's getting blown up around me.
The funny thing is that, like, you brought it up, because if I remember right, I can't remember if it was Socrates or Aristotle. I'm going to say Socrates because he was actually ironically envious or fascinated with the Spartans. And they had everything to do with the fact that they
wearing my Spartan t-shirt right now. Actually, my unit crest. Keep going.
Well, yeah, he's actually one of the 2 living people that could technically say he is a Spartan since he's been through the training.
Yep.
But the funniest thing about it is that Sparta is the antithesis of Athens.
Let me top you off water.
And they're the antithesis in regards that like everybody in Sparta has a function, and they don't seem, I guess to Socrates anyway. Again, if I'm wrong about that, I'm sure I'll find out. They seem perfectly content with their life, despite the fact that their life was centered around death and violence.
Yeah, violence and combat. Most of the biblical era was centered around that too.
Yeah.
Cosmic brownie.
Not that kind of cosmic brownie.
Oh no.
It says cosmic brownie.
No, he's being modest. I'm
Little
literally
Debbie's cosmic brownie.
filled with food.
Okay.
Yeah. Ironically, neither of us smoke, so gut fermented weed. The cat poo, right. The cat coffee.
I chased in the room with a baggie for like 2 weeks. Who is mine?
You know, I was having a conversation with somebody, and they were like, you know, Friends was better than that 70s show. And I was like, no, first of all, wrong. But, you know, I'm not against anybody that likes Friends. I think it's okay, but.
I hated that 70s show, but I could not laugh at it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, I loved it. I fucking loved that 70s show so much. Like,
And if you want to know, like, if you ever want to test the difference between the two, turn the laugh track on.
oh yeah. Oh, have you seen the YouTube? Okay, people listening, go on YouTube and watch Friends without the laugh track.
Fucking
Horrifying. Horrifying. Like where David Schwimmer is like trying to ask the dude how to beat up like a girl. And the guy's like, why would you want to know that? Like he's just like staring at him like all creepily and shit. I just realized we don't have camera on right now today. And like facial.
This is the problem I had when I was like, you guys remember, if anybody listening remembers the MP3 days, where somebody would use essentially the same program I am, and take a recording of their favorite thing, you know, let's like record, use a tape and record their favorite radio show, and then they turn it into an MP3, and then they just distribute that through email to all of their friends.
Yeah.
I used to love getting a hold of like clips of comedy like that because my family bogarted the TV and I loved Comedy Central and I never got to fucking watch it because they were always bogarting the TV watching like reruns of Bonanza and shit.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I love Bonanza. It's fun.
I mean, I do too, but like.
There's only so many times I can see like fucking costumes